welcome back. So today's video is going to be about symptoms and complications of my pregnancy. It is going to be a little graphic. If you don't want to hear about bleeding or my boobs or nipples, then I don't suggest watching it. If you're curious to know how it's been for me, then continue to watch and I will let you know. I will start off the video with symptoms. There hasn't been that many. I'll go trimester to trimester to kind of make it easier, but then I will move on to the complications. I feel huge today. I'll show you the bump now. The lighting kind of sucks, but I feel like he is, I don't know if he's a little bit lower than he's been, but it definitely feels like it's getting bigger and bigger. Lost my phone. Okay, so symptoms. First trimester was probably the hardest, and not for symptoms, for the lack of symptoms, because then you're constantly thinking that the baby's gone, something happened. You can't really use a Doppler that early, so it is. I remember telling myself I'm never doing this again, just because of the anxiety that I was under throughout the whole first trimester. No morning sickness. I had bloating, but I believe that was from my PIO injections. So, and my boobs didn't really grow. They kind of stayed the same. I will say my nipples got darker and they got bumpier, like the little bumps that go around them. That did happen. But otherwise, no sickness. It was pretty smooth sailing. I will say I was pretty lucky about that, not having many symptoms, but it also sucked because every day you're wondering, oh, is the baby still there? Second trimester, that got even easier. I mean, my appetite, it was ridiculous. I can probably eat 4 to 5 times more than I usually would when I'm not pregnant. Just consume everything in sight. But other than that, I slept good. I had energy. It wasn't terrible. Now into the third trimester. Why does that keep happening? But to add a little bit of context, I was, I think, 121.4 pounds when I first started. Now at 32 weeks, I'm almost 150. So the goal was to gain 25 to 30 pounds the entire pregnancy. Any more, my OB wasn't going to be happy. Any less, he said he was going to start feeding me Timbits. So, okay, maybe this is a little better camera-wise, but I'm still getting the hang of editing and placing my camera in the right spot, having the right lighting. I've never done it before. It's not easy. People might say it's easy. It's not. But anyway, so third trimester. I don't sleep. I eat everything in sight. Most recently, my feet, the bottom of my feet, if I stand for too long, they start to tingle. And I don't know, it almost feels like I want to itch them, but I also don't know if they're just falling asleep because I'm standing on them for too long. Like I could be doing my hair and all of a sudden the bottom of my feet tingles so bad that I have to sit down. Also, last night, I am 32 weeks exactly today. So last night I woke up like I normally do a million times to go pee at night, and I felt super dizzy, and that's never happened before. I had to kind of steady myself and sit on the edge of the bed for a little bit to see if it would go away. It did, but that was weird. Otherwise, I eat a lot. I can't sleep. My back has started hurting. I did lose, I don't know, I have a delivery. Everything just wants to be in my way today. I just want to get this video done. but it might be my dress for maternity. So, because I have a maternity photo shoot coming up, so that might be good. Now the dog's going crazy because they just dropped something off. Roxy, it's okay. Okay, now that the chaos of the delivery driver coming and going, I can try and finish this video. So, third trimester's been pretty good, other than everything I mentioned. I do think I lost my mucus plug about 4 days ago, 3-4 days ago. No bleeding, no consistent contractions, no water breaking, no leaking, none of that. I don't know if it was part of it or if it was all of it. So that's exciting, and I do think that he has dropped a little bit. So we're hoping that I don't have my baby shower until 36 weeks, so I'm hoping that, like, even the day after my baby shower, he can come, but not before. I would like him to wait until after. Even like a couple hours after the baby shower is fine, because I'll be 36 weeks and 3 days, or 36 weeks and 4 days, along those lines. But I will be induced at 39 weeks because that's what my OB wants to do for the IVF pregnancy. I guess there's studies that show that IVF pregnancies have a tendency of the placental issues, stillbirth, things like that. So at that point, he's ready to come out. They want to just take him out. So to recap, symptoms, not bad at all. I've gotten pretty lucky. It was really hard in the beginning because of constantly thinking that, oh, the baby's gone. But now around 13 weeks, I got a Doppler, and I've been using that until I can like consistently feel his kicks. And that's even better because I know his heart rate's doing good. I know he's doing good. I know at this point using the Doppler isn't very reliable. It's more so on kicks, how his kicks are doing, but I'll get into that with the complications and everything. All right, so this is more handy for complications because I wrote them all down. Well, the majority of them I wrote down in my journal. So let's look. I also have when I had my first ultrasound, things like that, all the ultrasound pictures I have in here. This picture was actually taken at 6 weeks, 6 days, but I was measuring 7 weeks, 1 day. So he was measuring ahead for quite a while. And his heartbeat at that time was 167. I didn't get to hear the heartbeat until my 12-week NT scan, which was a little frustrating. I don't know how common that is. I know people have heard it way earlier than that. So that kind of sucked. But anyway, complications. So, I had bleeding episodes. I did have a subchorionic hematoma, which common with IVF pregnancies. I guess even some normal pregnancies, it's pretty common. So bleeding at 5 weeks and 4 days, that was small, spotty. They didn't think much of it. They thought maybe implantation bleed. I did rush to the hospital because obviously any bleeding in pregnancy is scary. So I rushed to the hospital. They didn't find the hematoma until 7 weeks, 1 day. So when I had my ultrasound, that's when they said, okay, yeah, you have a really small hematoma. So nothing was really done about that. Then I had more bleeding at 8 weeks, 6 days. Another hospital visit because that one was large. I was sitting on the couch and I felt like I had to pee really bad. So as I was walking to the bathroom, all of a sudden I felt this giant gush. And when I got to the toilet to go pee, it was just, I was pouring blood, like hemorrhaging blood. So I said, okay, time to go to the hospital. Let's go. I packed up all my stuff, put probably 3 pairs of pants on. And mind you, the hospital's only maybe 4-5 minutes from my house. By the time I got there, I had bled through every single pair of pants that I had on. I was more worried about getting blood in the car than anything. But, I mean, they're leather seats, or kind of leather. Well, leather coverings on the seats. So, whatever. But I bled through every pair of pants that I had on at the time. I didn't want to sit down when I got to the hospital. When I went into triage, I told them, look, I'm not sitting. I am just gushing blood. It's pretty bad. As I was standing there, I could feel the clots come out. So they wanted a urine sample. I went to the bathroom to get a urine sample. And that's when one of the biggest, like I'm talking the size of my palm, clot came out. I walked out of that bathroom and told Jake, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I just lost the baby. I'm pretty sure. But that was the heaviest bleeding, big clots. It didn't last for long, probably an hour, hour and a half, and then it was all done. Then I went back for another ultrasound at 10 weeks and 3 days, and they found a 6-centimeter hematoma. Now, between the 8 weeks and the 10 weeks, well, from, I want to say 8 weeks to about 16 weeks, I was taken off of work. I was put on bed rest until the hematoma had dissolved completely. So that meant pelvic rest, no bending, no lifting, no raising my heartbeat, drinking as much water as I could, no jumping, whatever I could do to get it to kind of reabsorb into my body. I stopped my aspirin, I stopped my S-trace, anything that would cause me to bleed more, I stopped. So, I was off for it was probably a good 6 to 8 weeks I was off of work and at home. And then I had more brown spotting at 11 weeks and 6 days. And then finally, when I went back at 16 weeks, they told me it was gone. No problems there. At my anatomy scan at 20 weeks, everything was good, other than they called me about 3 weeks later and told me that I had a low-lying placenta. It was less than a centimeter away from my cervix, so I had to be taken off of work again. On pelvic rest again, which doesn't matter. That was the least of my worries at that point. But of course, you get the call. They tell you we won't call unless it's something serious, and then you see the number pop up. And of course, I was at work, so I missed the call. So my anxiety was through the roof. I tried to call them back. They didn't answer. I left a message. And at that point, I already told work, look, I need to leave. I need to go to the doctor, because if they weren't going to answer the phone, I was going to get answers, and I was just going to go. So they ended up calling me about halfway to the clinic, which my clinic is, like my OB's office is about an hour away. So I was halfway there. They called me. They said, yeah, you have a low-lying placenta, so we're going to take you off of work again. They don't usually rescan for low-lying placentas until 29, 30 weeks. So I was off of work that entire time. Well, then I go to my appointment to get reassessed to see if my placenta had moved out of the way. And it did a little bit, but not enough for me to go back to work. So then they told me that it wasn't a low-lying placenta, it was an extra lobe of a placenta. So 2 placentas, I'm assuming, or part of another placenta that was actually low-lying. Like, my placenta was fine. I do have an interior placenta, which caused a whole bunch of other issues, like not feeling kicks. I've been in the hospital probably 2-3 times for not feeling movement. I thought that he had passed, so I would go and they'd give me an NST and they'd say, yep, he's okay. You just can't feel it because your placenta's in the way. It's kind of like a cushion. Well, this other low-lying placenta was the one that they were worried about causing issues and hemorrhaging, bleeding. And then I finally went back at 30 weeks, and it had moved out of the way. So that's good. Probably nothing to worry about. It can cause issues during delivery, but probably nothing to worry about at this point because it's moved out of the way. What else do I have in here? Oh, I do want to add, during my first trimester, constipation was one of the worst symptoms. I know I said I didn't have symptoms, but constipation was pretty bad. I could not go to the bathroom for the life of me. It only lasted the first trimester. I don't have problems with it now. Or second trimester, I didn't have problems with it. I was scared in the second trimester because of all of the issues with my placenta and subchorionic hematoma. I didn't want to push. So I always rewatch my videos and find more things that I could be talking about because, I don't know, I feel like it's not detailed enough. Like, I see a lot of videos explaining things, and I wish I had more information when I was looking into these videos. So I did want to add that late second trimester, early third trimester, my heartburn got so bad that I had to be prescribed Pantaloc, which is just a prescription for acid reflux. Since I've started taking that, it's been gone. And I mean, I would go through bottles of Tums, Gaviscon, anything that was supposed to help over the counter, and it just did not help. So I was prescribed that, and it does help quite a bit. And since I've lost my mucus plug, I have had cramping, not consistent cramping, not like contraction cramping. It feels like I'm almost standing there, and all of a sudden I'm like, ow, that really hurt. Like, it's a sharp pain. So I don't know if it's like lightning, like they say, where he's moving down into position. He's been head down since 29 weeks. So I don't know what that means, other than it's been pretty painful. And it could just be Braxton Hicks. I don't know. This is my first pregnancy, so I'm not sure what that is supposed to feel like. Maybe next pregnancy, I'll kind of know what I'm doing, and it won't be so difficult for me to distinguish what I'm feeling. But right now, I'm just guessing. The anticipation is killing me. I'm only 32 weeks, so I would like him to cook a little bit longer, but I would also like him here. So that's it. I just wanted to add a couple things. There's probably a lot more that I could add to these videos, but I don't want them to be 40 minutes long. I could probably talk about this forever, but I'm just trying to get the point across that these are the things that I've had to deal with. And if you have any questions regarding those things, or if you're going through these things, or it sounds similar to what you're going through, drop a comment and I will respond. I will make a video. I can message you and let you know exactly in more detail how it went for me. I should also add, emotionally, like, I've done a lot of physical symptoms, but emotionally, you know, when you're pregnant, you're going to get hormonal. You're going to get sad, mad. My first trimester, cried a lot. I don't know. I just cried a lot. Really no reason. Could have been the anxiety of not knowing what was going on, being a first-time mom, really wanting it to work. Second trimester, not so bad. Kind of felt like my hormones leveled out. Now the third trimester, that's pretty bad. Jake will tell you I am horrible. And I don't mean to be. It's just I'm so irritable. I get mad really easily. I cry at everything. And it could be good crying. It could be bad crying. But I'm just very emotional. So I'm hoping that that goes away a little bit more after the baby's born. That'll be a whole new set of emotions. So we'll see how it goes. But yes, very emotional.